What is going on to you Virgos out there? Hope y'all are having a great day. Smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, set the notification bell to all so you can be notified whenever it is that I drop my videos. So, you Virgos have the Nine of Cups. Okay, so, excuse me. So, starting off, okay, I'm gonna get real raw in this video, but it's gonna be tasteful. But I'm gonna get real raw. This video gonna hit different. Listen, the Nine of Cups represents people's delusional expectations, and they've traded their expectations right off with their value. Reason why I'm saying that is because the Nine of Cups really does represent the way that people are looking at you Virgos and their perception that they are having of you. They're not actually looking at you and paying attention to you, trying to take their time to actually get to know you. What they're doing is they're projecting all of their expectations, their delusional expectations, onto you, and they're looking upward. So in other words, they have the mentality of if you Virgos do not come from a different stock, a different tax bracket, you don't have this here. If you don't look a certain way, if this is not that, if you don't know how to be slick with at the mouth and say all these fanciful things that are like delusional to someone, to buy into their delusion, then you have a lot of people who are going to write you off. And that's what the Nine of Cups represents. A lot of people who are truly writing off you Virgos and underestimating you, as Virgos normally are, right? And the Nine of Cups also represents how they are completely unwilling to actually pay attention and take the time to really get to know you at all. Now, especially when it comes to social media, how so many different things have become very much so superficial. Everything is basically on the surface. A lot of you Virgos see this. And we're going to get into it because you Virgos have the Empress, right, which is Libra, the zodiac sign, if we're going clockwise, right after you. So the Empress is about how you Virgos see that, for the most part, that's what it is that so many people want. They're not actually trying to take the time to really get to know you. It's not even really about getting to know you per se. They don't even know you. They don't know the Virgo, right? They don't know the Virgo. They're so busy trying to get to know, do you have enough money to support them and do whatever and mess around and do dumb stuff all day, right? Or act like they're important. Give them a name. These are people that want to be worldly, right? Going back to the Nine of Cups. And the thing about it is that the Empress represents a lot of you Virgos out there like, no. Like you don't really see a value in necessarily having to have this worldly stage, this stage where people are jealous and at the same time admiring you due to the fact that you're so beautiful, due to the fact that they're so beautiful and fanciful, right? Because you have a lot of these people who are essentially misjudging you and projecting their dysfunctions onto you because they're not looking to actually get to know you Virgos. They're not looking to be, I told you that this video going to hit differently. They're not looking to actually get to know you Virgos. They're looking to only be with you if you can supply this lifestyle that these people are so much so desperate for and looking for. And this is what I meant to say, because a lot of you Virgos are paying attention to it. You're looking at it. You know what's going on, and you Virgos are like, why does so many people desperately judge you so harshly for this? And to be honest, it's not even just about you. That's how a lot of people are. It's not enough to be rich. A person has to be rich and famous. It's not enough to be rich anymore. Back in the 90s, it was about being rich because it was a little bit more real then. Now, it's not about just being rich, right? You could be rich and then just lay low, and people may know who you are. You could be a rap star or a celebrity and be rich, but still live humbly. Now, you got to do it big. And if you're not doing it big, worldly, people are striving to, you want people to be jealous of you and also covet what it is that you have attained, while at the same time want to do business with you and kiss your feet, because of the fact that you're such a worldly influence. One wrong move can have you say you're out, and then people not want to rock with you anymore because of how powerful a person is. This is the type of delusion and the delusion of grandeur that some people are writing you off with. So like I said, a lot of you Virgos see this, and it's a twofold system, and I'm going to tell you why. Because on the one hand, you Virgos have the Empress, and a lot of you see this because the way that you Virgos, especially, and I'm talking to you Virgos whose minds and hearts are in the correct place, you really are doing the work. You Virgos know this, and you Virgos step to people trying to get to know them, and they so much so want to project their own delusions of grandeur onto you. The romantic interactions don't actually end up going anywhere. And to be honest with you, that's why it is that a lot of you Virgos have such a problem when it comes to being in a relationship, because people put this, for some reason, people project this delusion of grandeur onto Virgos. So on one hand, you Virgos are trying to step to people, and they're completely misappropriating you and misunderstanding what it is that you're trying to do. You Virgos could be trying to show up with real love and trying to build that relationship, that trust, that bond, that spiritual bond between yourself and another person. And they're not into that. They're looking to have you Virgos give them a fanciful world in which they can play in all day. Remember, it's not enough to be rich. You have to be rich and famous. Those three words, rich and famous. And so not only are you upset and kind of disgusted at how it is that, the projection is such a real thing. The Nine of Swords represents you're also disappointed at the fact that you have a lot of people out here who are ultimately really selling themselves short, because instead of them take the time to actually just get to know you, and they will have you will be willing to actually share your resources, because it takes two to be in a relationship naturally. They are so caught up with the money, with the fame, with the celebrity of it all, with the needing to have other people admire and be a little bit jealous. They completely I have to say it again, misinterpret what you're offering to them. What you Virgos are offering to people is more than it, but they're so dumb. They're chasing after the money so much to the point where the money is messing them up, and their own, and even more so, their delusions of grandeur is what's messing them up. Because if two people are in a relationship, two people are in a relationship, and it's a functional one, does the other person not get the resources that the other person has? Of course they do. Of course they share. But going right back to the Nine of Cups, people are so delusional. They don't take the time to really think about it a minute. And this is why it is that a lot of you Virgos are disappointed. It's because Venus falls in Virgo. Venus falls in Virgo. Venus, remember when I told y'all that Venus is not necessarily what you think it is? Venus is the planet of love. But this is why it is that I say that Venus is a better than even the exaltation in Pisces. Venus in Virgo is a better exaltation. Venus in Virgo is a better placement than even the exaltation or the highest point in Pisces. Venus in Capricorn is better than the exaltation in Pisces. Venus in Scorpio is better than the exaltation than Venus in Pisces. Venus in Aries is a better exaltation than Venus in Pisces. And Venus in Pisces is supposed to be known as the highest aspiration that Venus can attain is in Pisces. Why is it even better than the exaltation? Because Venus, if left unchecked, rules delusions of grandeur. Because remember, Venus represents fanciful things, rich taste. If a person does not put in check Venus, Venus represents a rich lifestyle, a fancy taste, rich taste, expensive taste. Everything has to be flashy, glamorous, luxurious. That's what Venus represents, luxury. So when you put Venus in Pisces now, Pisces represents illusions. Pisces can represent spirituality. But when you bring Venus in with Pisces, it can represent delusion of grandeur. You don't need to have Venus and Pisces in your chart to be delusional. The energy that a person taps into in on self, regardless of whatever the person has in Venus, is Venus in Pisces energy. To be delusional when it comes to having someone else as a tool and using that person as a tool to put you up on a pedestal because you're essentially swag jacking. You're standing next to the person in so many pictures. So because you're standing next to the person, you're catching secondhand fame from them. I told you this video gonna hit differently. I told y'all this. I warned y'all this. This video is not, if you not real ready to get laced with real game, seriously, don't watch this video. So now when you have Venus in Aries, Venus in Virgo, that kind of energy, that kind of conjunction, whether it's in your Venus, whether it's in the sun sign, whether it's in the ascendant, whether it's in the moon sign, it puts you in a better position than Venus and Pisces, because You see the delusion of grandeur out here that so many people have. That's number one. And number two, it gives you a certain level of protection to go along with the vision to see the delusion out here, because you understand the game. And because you have such a realistic approach, Virgo, to love, to where you're not just letting Venus go ahead and get away with it to where everything is luxurious and fanciful, but it's delusional. It's too much in the realm of dreams and not enough being able to root it into something real, to where you can say that it's not just spiritual, but it hasn't physically manifested. So it's just delusion at this point. It may be real, but it hasn't manifested itself physically. So down here, it's just a delusion, but it actually is real though to you. But to other people, it may look like it's not real. A lot of people are afraid of that. We're going to get into it. A lot of people, right? You have the Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. Queen of Pentacles, a lot of people are afraid of that. You Virgos are giving a realistic approach to dating, relationships, how people relate to one another. They don't like that. They can't, and they don't even like it because they can't handle it. People are sitting up on the internet watching too much rappers, celebrities, basketball players, and they have access to them because of the internet, which I don't have a problem with. But they're delusional with it to where, you know, they're not really peeping game as to what actually is going on, right? So you have competition out here. You know, so many people are trying to play musical chairs, as to where when it comes to you Virgos are like this. Nobody, and it even has a throne in it, a throne chair in it, to kind of use that musical chairs example of what I was talking about how it is that you Virgos are standing like freaking. You know what I mean? Like freaking. You can have a chair. You could sit in the chair if that's what it is that you want. The person who gets a chance to sit in a chair will find love. But notice how it is the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles represents Virgo in minor arcana. But it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, okay, someone can have a chair. You can have the musical chairs. Because and pay attention, you Virgos are standing like, and you relaxing, because it's like you Virgos understand this musical chairs game that people are playing, it's not meaningful anyway. So it's like, who cares if you don't get a chair? Who cares? Who gives a squat if you don't get a chair? You Virgos don't even care. You're like, look at how the Queen of Pentacles is posturing herself. She's like, look, have the chair. Since we playing musical chairs, have the chair. Since you so petty, you want to have a chair. Okay, you out here, you dating. You getting the eyes on you. Now what? And you Virgos are like, it's all a show out here. Most of it is a show. Who are the real individuals who want to stop playing musical chairs, who don't want to play the game, right? Because the musical chairs scenario represents the game. Everybody is trying to compete. Everybody trying to go around the chair. And when the music stops, make sure that you get a chair, sit in it, and push someone out of the way if you. And you Virgos are like, standing up. You want a chair? Take it. I don't care if I have one. I don't care if I don't have one. I would prefer not to have one. Because a lot of you Virgos are seeing what's out here, and a lot of you Virgos are like, it's nothing but goofy people out here proclaiming that they're changing the game, they're changing romance, but in actuality, are they though? And you Virgos are actually hitting on something. Y'all are really asking the correct questions. And because y'all are asking the correct questions, this is what's messing a lot of people up. Why it is that they can't be with you. They can't rock with you because you're too raw. They can't do it. Because the rabbit not only symbolizes fertility, but in certain cases, the rabbit represents hunting. So this is exactly, you understand what I'm saying? How the connection between fertility, if you know what I mean, right? Reproduction and mating is especially in this reading, I'm drawing a connection between that and how people perceive mating, and they perceive it as a competition. So now it's like you Virgos you don't want to participate in the competition. It's quite meaningless to you. So now it's like you looking at it and you're like, look at this. This is gross. People are downstairs. They're not on your level. You know, what's a small thing to a giant? So now a lot of people are feeling very insecure, especially when they come around you Virgos, because now the Knight of Cups represents here you Virgos, right? You know your value. You have an idea of your value, you know? Your value can't be quantified so particularly, because then it becomes squandered because you regulate someone down to only doing this and it becomes transactional. That's why value can be an idea, right? Particularly when it comes to talking about living people, right? When you start talking about nouns. So the thing is that the Knight of Cups now represents you Virgos being willing to offer people. And this is what it is I was talking about up until now. What it is that you Virgos are offering to them is a cup. You're offering to them something that is supposed to mean more than the money. Notice how it is that the Queen of Pentacles is holding money, meaning symbolizing that you Virgos have it, especially if you Virgos have a financial plan and you've been following through and you've been, things have been going your way. You Virgos have it, but so many people are so stupid. They're so caught up with this Nine of Cups. It's not enough to be rich. You have to be rich and famous. You have to fit this delusion of grandeur. Meanwhile, Queen of Pentacles, not only do you have money, but you're also offering something much more important. You Virgos are actually offering up love and trust. You're offering up that spiritual connection that you are supposed to have and that you Virgos do want with somebody else. But the Knight of Cups really does speak to the irony, because it represents the stupidity of how it is. It represents the stupidity. And what the stupidity is represented by is not only the Nine of Cups, but also the Page of Cups. They're so distracted with the red herring. That's why the fish is in the cup. They're so distracted with the red herring. They're so distracted by being rich and famous. They're not even paying attention to, if they want money, they can have money while they're in a relationship. Because they're so stupid, they've made the value of a person, they've regulated it down, they've shrunken it down to only transactional things. The person is only important because because they're rich and famous. So now, the Three of Swords now represents, this is exactly what's jamming them up. Because of the fact that they can only think from this level of being transactional, the Three of Swords, this is exactly what is jamming them up. because they're getting used up behind that ideology of thinking that people are only expenditures, of thinking that you Virgos are only expenditures, when you're offering them love first, then the money that comes after that. The Lovers now represents how they have completely put themselves in a cycle where all they're going to do is end up here. Three of Swords. They're doing it to themselves. They're putting their own self in a terrible disposition because of the fact that they're looking at the red herring. And the red herring is symbolic for what? What is a herring? A fish. The red herring is symbolic, right? And I got the red on. The red herring is symbolic for what? Pisces. Venus in Pisces. The delusion of grandeur that they're looking at. This is why they're on their knees. They're praying to be rich and famous without having to do anything. We're in the age, I ain't gonna say we're in the age, because that's actually coming to an end. But right now we are in a little bit of a time where people are trying to attain riches and fame, no matter, even if they got a swag jack off of somebody else. Remember back in the 90s where you had to build your own name for yourself and you actually had to stand on your own 2 feet and people had to actually know you off the strength off your own back? That's not how it is now. Now people are hoping to actually hang out with somebody a couple of times who has a name, who has some sort of clout to them. You know, when people hear the name, it rings a bell, right? They are familiar with the name. That's how people have regulated themselves down now. Instead of actually building themselves, they're so worried about, they're so worried about trying to swag jack. They're so worried about being famous because they are associated with these people. Now the 10 of Wands now, and you Virgos have a seat to sit back. Not a seat, you're actually standing up for this one. You Virgos are just standing back, watching at this whole thing, watching it, seeing it, and how so many people are scurrying around like in the mouse utopia. Look up the mouse utopia. About how these mice trying to mate, and it got to a point where so few mice actually got a chance to reproduce that the other mice who wasn't reproducing was like, we might as they basically just did everything else but tried to seek the other's attention in order to mate. They groomed, they hung out, they kicked it, they did it what it is. And now the same thing is happening in real life with just in general, let alone when it comes to you Virgos. You Virgos are experiencing the mouse utopia where so many people had tried to front on you. You Virgos are like unofficial member of the Ghost Nation. And then now it's like it's played out, especially when it comes to you Virgos. You're not played out, but you see others who participate in this stupidity is played out. Because now you Virgos are like, this is played out. And the mouse, and by the way, the mouse utopia actually is happening now, because as we speak, you Virgos are, again, y'all are the ones that's offering someone love first before the two of y'all start distributing money amongst each other, right? They don't even want to do that. They want to put the money first. So now you Virgos are like, mouse utopia, here we come. I might as well groom myself. That's the catch-22. Now you have the Ten of Wands. Now people want to if you've been noticing, now they want to reach out to you and find out what's going on with you. Hey, Virgo, how is it that y'all are doing? But the catch-22 is you Virgos don't care about that now. Mouse Utopia. And the Five of Wands represents they're upset at the fact that you Virgos are not paying attention to it, because you Virgos understand how lame it is. People only want you because, again, it's that rich and famous reference. They want you because you give off, you imply that you are coming into money. And some of you Virgos are. Slowly, quickly, but some of you Virgos are. And because you are, a lot of people are starting to have a problem with that. Because now it's a situation where it's like, okay, they want your attention, but now you Virgos are like, it's a dub. Let's clarify the Five of Wands. Page of Swords, Hanged Man, Hierophant, Tower, Queen of Wands. That's what I'm talking about. Because the Page of Swords and the Hanged Man, to clarify the Five of Wands, the Page of Swords represents, they're upset, like I said, they're upset at the fact that you Virgos want nothing to do with them now. And when I say them, I'm talking about anyone that's coming to you curious and sniffing around trying to find out how you make your money, and even trying to associate themselves with you now because you Virgos may be doing your thing. It's the Mouse Utopia. You're living your life, and you're living quality of your life as well. So all those people now that should have acted like they had some form of common sense, the Hanged Man now is about how it is that, they really don't know where to turn. They don't know what to do. They having issues. They really looking at you like they're at the mercy of you, really. And then the thing is that the Hierophant now is about how you as Virgos, y'all are like kumbaya. Y'all are chilling. You Virgos are chilling so much. I can't even tell y'all how good y'all are, because you Virgos are in a very powerful, joyful disposition, because y'all are sitting back watching at it like because they should have picked you from the very beginning. They should have, but they wanted to act like, oh, okay. So now the Tower, you have the Tower and the Queen of Wands. They having a lot of, they now trying to act like they're okay on the outside, but inside, right? Queen of Wands, they're trying to act like they're okay on the outside, but the inside, they're having an apocalypse. Like, what are they going to do now to get your attention now that you Virgos have become an unofficial member of the Ghost Nation, because you don't care about trying to date, go out, associate with so many people. You Virgos are staying by yourselves. Now what? And y'all are doing your thing. Because us as Virgos know we should have been picked long before people probably came out and acted like they wanted to choose us. I've known for years that I should have had the pick of the litter. I've known this for years, because I was always a sincere individual, always. It took me some time for me to learn from my mistakes. Wasn't perfect, but I did learn from my mistakes. I am a person that does learn from the things that I did incorrectly. So the more I accomplish is the more I'm like, and cold part about it is, not only am I becoming more accomplished without having to show everybody this, but I'm doing it and I've never changed up. I'm actually more down to earth than I've ever had. So now it's like, if you making money and you now start switching up and acting like you're delusional off this, and the people who treated you well, you start disrespecting and stuff like this, and start acting like you don't remember the people who put you in this position, who rocked with you before you had the money and the fame. That's whack. For you right now, Virgo, to be in that kind of disposition where you doing something for yourself, you a part of that, you an unofficial member of that Ghost Nation, excuse me, and you doing your own thing without having to lose touch with reality. That's the thing that's really getting them now, because you never switched up. And now people are looking like, yo, this is crazy. Like, and now they don't have access to you. They could have, but they just didn't want to stop playing games. Now they only have one person to actually thank for that. There's a link in the comment section below called a Linktree link. Click on it. It will redirect you to a website which has all the ways to be able to financially support the channel. Everything from birth chart readings, tarot readings, books that I have that are on Amazon. I also teach people how to read the tarot themselves.